What's up, everybody? Yes, you read that right. Why just being yourself is terrible advice. If you want to know why, stay tuned. Alright, so why is this such bad advice? Now, the reason why I chose this topic, and especially this title, is because one of the things that I see on social media a lot, and now it pertains mostly to women, but also to a lot of men, and is this whole positivity movement. Now, I do think that it is important to accept yourself for who you are and know yourself and to not try to seek external validation, right? That is incredibly important. Okay, and that is one of the very first steps to success, is know yourself. Now, the thing is, a lot of times I see that people just want to be accepted. You know, you see a guy, he's overweight, lazy, doesn't have a good job, doesn't really have ambition, but yet wants to be accepted and wants a girl to just take him for who he is. And I don't think that's a very good idea. As a matter of fact, and I'm going to explain this in some of my later points, this is not very realistic. And in reality, guys, the world is tough, all right? Life is not always fair. It really isn't. And you have to really strive to be better every single day in order to really make it in life. And it's just, being yourself is not going to cut it. Now, I want to start off also by saying that it is always important to be authentic. Okay, because let me tell you something, you could fake it all you want. People are eventually going to see through the facade, all right? You can totally change your body, you can do all these different things, okay? But if you're still the same insecure, lazy person that you've always been, well, that's going to show at some point, okay? You can hide behind all the money and facade, and I see this a lot where I'm from in Miami. You see a lot of guys that they're very insecure and they have a lot of just baggage, and they think that just by throwing money at the problem that they get, they get the cars, they get the girls, and problem solved. And in reality, it doesn't. Okay, so I just gotta understand. I just need you to stress this to you guys. All right, everybody can see through the facade at some point. All right, so be authentic. All right, you gotta look inside yourself and see who you really are, and stop trying to be something you're not. Now, the very first point that I want to make, and why this is such bad advice, is because you always have to strive to be a better version of yourself. Okay, now this can mean a lot of different things, and you got to see what it means to you. Whether it means be more stylish, be more educated, be more articulate, be more fit, do better with in life, with business, make more money. If you want to get girls, that's your thing, whatever. But you got to be a better version of yourself. Always, okay, and if you're just sticking to the mediocrity and you're just saying, well, people need to accept me for me and that is it, well, you got to look inside and you got to ask yourself, well, if you were somebody else, would you accept the other person that's exactly like you? And if the answer is no, then maybe you got to do something about it. Okay, now in my personal case, okay, now me, I've always been short. There's something I could do about that, but I've always been very skinny. Okay, now that is something I could definitely fix, all right, and that's what I'm doing right now. Okay, obviously some days are better than others, but I try to go to the gym. I try to, put on some muscle, and I've actually been able to do that. It hasn't always been easy, okay, and especially with the amount of hours that I work and things like that, it's not always easy, and sometimes I really don't feel like going. Sometimes I wake up at 5 in the morning, and I'm like, oh my God, do I really want to do this? Okay, but I tell myself, listen, if you don't do this now, you're going to hate yourself for it later, all right? Always strive to be a better version of yourself, okay? I try to read often. I try to read on many different topics, so I can actually make conversations with people on different things instead of just what I know. Trying to make more money. I'm trying to open up, other avenues of revenue. But guys, the thing is, you always have to be a better version of yourself if you really want to succeed in life, okay? And if you're somebody that, like I said, if you're overweight, all you do is smoke weed all day and play video games, and you wonder why things are not going well for you, well, maybe that's a start. Okay? So, gentlemen, always try to be a better version of yourself. Now, the second point, and I'm going to quote Richard Cooper from Entrepreneurs in Cars, and that is, if you're getting shitty results, make better choices. Okay, one of the things that a lot of people I see that a lot of people, especially on social media, you see just a bunch of whiners and complainers, and then you ask them about the decisions that they made, and then they get all defensive, and they're like, "Oh, how dare you question my choices?" And I'll be honest, usually it's women that do this, but a lot of guys as well. Okay, and a lot of people they don't understand that the choices that you make are going to give you a result. If you're not ready to live with the consequences of your actions, don't make that choice. Okay, if you see that you're overweight, or if you see, like me, that you're underweight and you're really skinny, well, maybe eat better food, maybe eat more food, maybe go to the gym, pump some iron, lift, also quoting entrepreneurs and cars, lift heavy shit and put it down. All right, very important, guys. Okay, you have to make better choices if you want to get better results. If you do X and you're trying to get Y, well, see if what you're actually doing is going to get you Y. Okay, but don't think that just because you want to get somewhere that you're going to get there without putting in the work. All right, or making shitty choices that are not going to give that to you. All right, we all have choices. All right, if you don't want to end up broke and having to struggle all the time, well, finish school. Don't get anybody pregnant unless you're actually married in a relationship. All right, that's one of the advice that Ben Shapiro gives, and everybody gives him crap for it, but I think it's solid advice. All right, a lot of guys, you see, they're struggling their whole lives, and it's because they just make crappy choices. All right, they go out and buy drugs, they go and just waste money on crap that they don't need. They sleep with people they shouldn't be sleeping with, and then what happens? Their lives go to crap, and then they're like, "Oh, well, I need somebody to help me." No, make better choices. All right, number 3, why I think just being yourself is terrible advice is because you got to look at what you like and fix it. Okay, like I said, the choices you make. Okay, if you see that you're overweight or you're underweight, do something about it. If you see that you're not making the amount of money that you would like, well, look at what you're doing, look at the job that you have, or look at your qualifications and do something about it. Okay, if you see that you're not getting a lot of good results with women, okay, well, or you're not having good relationships, all right, well, see where you lag and fix it. Okay, if you're a toxic person, if you're toxic in relationships, if you're very insecure, well, you need to find out why. Okay, because you can only blame the other person so long until it really comes back at you, and you got to be like, well, what am I doing that's wrong? Okay, that's something that's very important. Not a lot of people take ownership for their lives because of it. All right, so see where you lag and fix it. And it's okay to not be okay. It's just not okay to stay there. All right, that's one very important point I want to make here. All right, number 4. All right, and this one's going to ruffle a few feathers here, but people in general are transactional. Okay, so people want something out of people. People want to know what you can do for them. All right, and if just being yourself really doesn't mean much, if you have nothing to give, well, why are people going to want to hang out with you? And the other thing, guys, especially women are very transactional. Okay, I know this goes against a lot of what we've been taught. All right, but think about it, guys. All right, women have tons of options, especially if she's young and she's pretty. Almost any woman, in her early 20s has some beauty about her. Right, she's got the gift of youth. All right, us guys, we actually have to try a lot harder in order to get somebody. Okay, and if you have nothing to give, especially if a girl has all these different options, all right, she's got she's got the football player, she's got the lawyer, she's got the DJ, she's got the this that, and the other, and then she looks at you and you're like, well, what does this guy have to give? Why am I going to be with him if he's really has nothing to offer? Okay, so you have to look at what you have to offer, and you got to make it better for yourself. Okay, because yes, like I said, people are transactional. All right, if and forget relationships, for example, forget sex for a little bit. Okay, imagine if I need somebody to work a job. All right, let's just say I'm an entrepreneur, or I'm a hiring manager or whatever, and I need somebody to fill a spot for me. Okay, but I want to know what you're willing to do for me, what you can do for me. Okay, and it's not. I don't really care who you are, as if you actually have something that you can offer, like you know how to do the job well, or you have skills necessary to fulfill that position, then I'm going to want you. If not, then I'm just going to go to somebody else. All right, and that's very important. So guys, understand, people are transactional. All right, if you look at yourself and you don't have much to give, you got to work on that. All right. The next reason why I think just being yourself is terrible advice is you got to update your beliefs and learn something new. Okay? A lot of people are so stuck in their ways. A lot of people are not very, they're not very open to new ideas. Okay? Now, this can mean a lot of different things. Okay? But a lot of people are so stuck in their ways and they just want people to take them for them. Okay? And the reality is, guys, you should never stop learning. You should always learn something new. Okay, now for me, especially in this past year with COVID, one of the things that I did was I started reading a lot, and I started reading a lot of books that didn't necessarily fit into my worldview 100%. Okay, one of the many ones, The Rational Male by Rollo Tomassi. Actually, both of his books, Preventative Medicine and also the first one. Okay, No More Mr. Nice Guy, but I think his name is Dr. Robert Glover. Really, really good book. I highly recommend it. Okay, The Tactical Guide to Women. That's another good one. Sex at Dawn is one that I actually just bought. I haven't read it yet, but it's supposed to be a very good book. Okay, there's How to Be a 3% Man by Corey Wayne. Also, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. 12 Rules to Life by Jordan Peterson. Okay, some of these, yeah, you may not necessarily agree with their worldview, or may just not be something that you're used to hearing. Okay, but definitely, guys, update your belief systems. Okay, try to learn something new. Try to see things through a different perspective. Okay, because a lot of times the way you may be seeing things may not be the right way, or may not be the best way to do things. Okay, if I subscribe to a worldview that I should just be accepted for me and not have to really put in any effort, not have to bring value to the world, which as a man you should do. A man has to create value in order to be accepted into society, really. Okay, if I just believe that I should be accepted for who I am, even if I am a lazy bum that doesn't really contribute to the community, well, that's a recipe for failure, because nobody's gonna care. Nobody's really gonna accept you, because you're not contributing to anything. Okay, so definitely, guys, all right, update your belief systems and try to learn something new. Because a lot of this stuff, a lot of what I see is just guys that are just so lazy and they don't really feel like progressing in life. Okay, and that is one of the main things that are keeping a lot of men down, or just in general, toxic belief systems. All right, in my opinion, especially today, feminism is very toxic, and many men are biting into it. Many men are absorbing that information, and it's not really helping them. So if you see that what you're getting is not, what you're consuming is not giving you the results you want, you might want to pick something different. All right, number 6. Okay, why I think that just being yourself is terrible advice is because you shouldn't place so much emphasis on outside acceptance. Okay, this may sound a little bit contradictory to a few of the other points that I made, but hear me out for a second. Okay, when we place too much emphasis on being accepted by others, well, guys, here's the thing: some people are just not gonna like you. All right, just like how some women are just not gonna like you. Some women, for whatever reason, whether fair or unfair, they're just not gonna like you. Okay, and if all you do is place your emphasis on being accepted and to being wanted, you're kind of in a losing battle, right? Something that I used to do a lot as well. I used to think that, I would go out of my way to make sure that I was accepted by everybody, and that is something that I failed at miserably, because a lot of people, for whatever reason, just didn't like me. And I even talked with some of these people, and they said, look, dude, you're not a bad guy. For some reason, I just didn't like you. You just rubbed off on me the wrong way, and that's something I can't get past. Okay, fine. It is what it is. But, a lot of times, we place too much emphasis on what other people think. Okay? Now, there are cases where that might be a little bit important, like you're applying for a job or something like that. But in general, guys, if you're placing so much emphasis on what other people think, that's just a losing battle. Okay? Instead, what you need to do is you need to look inward, and you need to accept yourself. Okay? You need to look you need to look at the mirror, and if you're proud of the person that's staring back at you, then that's a great step forward. That's actually a very good sign. Okay? But the problem is, a lot of people place too much emphasis on outside acceptance. Okay, now, like I said, this might sound a little contradictory, but if you strive to be better every single day, okay, if you put in the work, All right, you put in the time. You go work out. You try to educate yourself. You try to read. You try to update your belief systems. You try to, you know, work a little harder at work or whatever the case might be to make more money. Okay, or you start a side business that starts to build revenue. Whatever the case might be. Okay, it can mean a lot of different things, guys. So these are just examples. But the point that I'm trying to make here is, if you look at the mirror, okay, and you're proud of the person that you see, then that's a great step forward. Okay, that is what you should be striving for, not to be accepted by everybody else. Because you can be accepted by everybody else, but if you don't love yourself, then what's the point? All right, last and certainly not least. Okay, now this one pertains to women. Okay, and that is, women hang out at the finish line and they pick the winners. All right, now I know this one ruffles a lot of feathers because a lot of guys do not like to hear this. Okay, but hear me out. Especially now with social media, with dating apps and things like that, you know, women are spoiled for choice. They got options like you wouldn't believe. Okay, and the thing is, guys, if you expect a woman to stick with you through thick and thin and to be with you when the times are tough, you know, and especially when you have absolutely nothing, that may sound like a great theory, but let's be honest. A lot of people nowadays are not like that. Okay, and as I said, you should not be looking for outside acceptance. All right, you gotta improve yourself. You gotta do what you need to do for yourself in order to make yourself better. Okay, don't worry about, oh my God, but I did all these different things, and you expect her to stick with you thick and thin, and you expect her to understand or whatever. Guys, that is very wishful thinking, and unfortunately, that is not the way things work. Okay, if you ever seen the movie The Rock with Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage, you know, when he says, I'll do my best, and Nicolas Cage says, I'll do my best, and Sean Connery is like, yeah, you losers always whine about their best, winners go home and F the prom queen. That is so true, because if you ever look at all these very pretty girls, you look at the prom queen, you look at the cheerleaders, whatever, are they with a guy that's a complete loser and they're like, oh, I want to stick with him through thick and thin and do all these things? Probably not, right? That's probably 2% of all those women, okay? As a matter of fact, most of them are hanging out with the football captain and all these other guys because they got it going, okay? And they don't really care what he had to do to get there. They don't really care how much time and effort he had to put in to get to where he's at. All they care about is who he is. All they care about is the status. Okay, now it might seem very shallow, but us guys, you know, we also don't really care much about the amount of work that a woman has to put in to look good. We want her to look good. All right, same concept. Okay, we like, you know, men and women like each other for different reasons, but the point that I'm trying to make here, guys, is you shouldn't care so much about the outside acceptance. Okay, you got to do the work for yourself. Okay, because if all you're doing is you're just placing the emphasis on somebody else, on women or whatever, understand that, yeah, women hang out at the finish line and they pick the winners. They don't care how many times you fell down. They don't care the struggles that you had along the road. They don't care, you know, the sleepless nights and all that other stuff. What they care about is what you have to offer. Okay, and that ties into all the other points that I've made. Alright guys, that is it for today. I know this is quite a long video and pretty controversial, but let me know what you think down in the comments. Hit me with one of these, share this video if you like with your friends, subscribe, also follow me on Instagram, the link is down below. Alright guys, that is it for today. See you next time.